All right. Cool. Podcast 3.
Yeah.
We're back.
Welcome.
All right.
So we took a little week off.
Yeah, so
because
we were
it was
off
the
for
4th
the 4th.
of July.
We took a trip to Colorado.
A road trip.
Mm-hmm. That's true. We
Long ass drive.
drove all the way there so we could take our dog, and it was kind of like it was an interesting trip to practice camping, and also
getting comfortable with being outside as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like as much as we could tolerate.
Mm-hmm. I think that's an important. I had a post on this on my Instagram, just talking about kind of the importance of
resetting.
Yeah, and being comfortable out in nature. You know, like one thing that was cool. So we did. What was the type of camping?
Dispersed camping.
Dispersed camping. So it was like nobody was around us. We were out in the middle of nowhere, which
yeah, you have to hike in like 200 yards.
At least where we were at. Sometimes you'll have to
hike further.
Hike a little bit further. But
you have your own little oasis.
Yeah, we were able to
we had
it
our
sounds
own Pride
weird,
Rock.
but we could be naked and
until
it
people
was in the
joined
mountains,
us,
so we were at higher altitude getting the benefits of the UV light at the higher altitude because the atmosphere is thinner. And then also being able to utilize the lakes and the rivers the whole trip.
Yeah, because
that are really cold from the snow.
The weekend before they had gotten snow, so the water was pretty cold.
Yeah.
But it felt great because it was so hot during the day.
Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of things working for us, kind of as like therapy, and it was just kind of fun to do. We haven't camped, me and you.
No, that was our first time.
We need to do a lot more. We've been
very
thinking
testing.
about it.
No, it wasn't. Just setting up the tent.
Yeah. But today's podcast, we're going to talk about things we do to block blue light and avoid artificial lights throughout the day, and especially at night to help improve our sleep. And a little reason why we do that, we're going to not get too deep into the science. I want to save that for another episode because this is going to take a long time just to lay out everything we do.
And the products we use.
And to lay out the actual science and other things, I need to prep a lot more. It's really complex. All of the things, the mechanisms that artificial light is impacting.
And disrupting.
Yeah, but I'll do a brief summary.
But I feel like on the highest level, people know that bright lights stress them out.
Yeah.
You know that they're not great.
People are catching on to it's
and
becoming
people know
trendy.
Their phones are not a good hue and
like the Apple
night mode.
Apple finally put the night mode on. People are using the apps on their computer. What is that called? Flux.
Which we'll tell you about that.
And then blue blockers are becoming more trendy.
Yeah.
You see more and more Hollywood
Kylie
people.
Jenner had a whole post about it.
But we'll talk about more in depth what we use, products we use. And I recommend if you're listening to this on one of the podcast apps to utilize the YouTube video because I'm going to lay out a lot of these things on a video and you'll get more out of the video. But it doesn't mean you won't get anything out of the audio as well.
Yeah, because we'll explain all of the products as well. So if you have a notepad, you can just take notes too.
All right. And I guess...
And really, the reason blocking blue light techniques is so high up on the podcast that we're releasing is because it's pretty easy to do and it's very effective for your circadian rhythm. So it's low-hanging fruit.
So the last episode was on AM sunlight. That's the most important thing. That's free. One of the easiest things you can do. It's actually a little more difficult to get out and utilize AM sun for some people. This one may be easier for you.
Yeah.
And a very good starting step is to wear blue blocking glasses during the day.
When you're indoors looking at
some of these techniques, I mean, it's so easy just to, and it's such a big hack, or it's such a, I mean, it's
small investment, really.
It's a small investment, and
this is all typically cheaper than a Fitbit or an Apple Watch.
I mean, you should be doing this before you start a diet or start even treatment. Like if you have cancer, you should be doing this before you start your treatment or anything. Like this should be the number one thing you're doing on top of anything for health.
Okay. Let's go into
All right, so let's talk about.
Do you want to go to the explanation of why we need to block blue light?
Yeah. So I mean, it goes. We talked about this in the last 2 episodes, but we have photoreceptors in our eye and our skin, cones, rods, and what's also called. I wrote this down because it's kind of difficult. So we have cones, rods, and then also retinal ganglion cells, which contain melanopsin. One thing that was just recently discovered in the last, I think, 2 years is that we had melanopsin in the skin and the subcutaneous fat and in the arteries, because we have melanopsin detects blue light and it does certain things. So like if you Google melanopsin on Wikipedia, it says on Wiki, melanopsin is a type of pigment belonging to a larger family of light-sensitive retinal proteins called opsins. Melanopsin is found intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, IPRGCs for short. They are particularly sensitive to absorption of short wavelength blue visible light and communicates information directly to the area of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, also known as the central body clock. Melanopsin plays an important non-imaging forming role in setting of circadian rhythms, as well as other functions. So you can be blind and your eyes can also still be able to detect light and dark through these IPRGCs. Melanopsin containing IPRGCs contribute to various reflexive responses of the brain and body in the presence of light. It's interesting that Wikipedia doesn't have some of the new information that's come out in the last 2 years, that melanopsin not only in the eye, but it's in the subcutaneous fat, your arteries, veins, and capillaries. This means that you have photoreceptors for blue light everywhere, and this is why you can shine a light on the back of your knee and disrupt melatonin release, affecting your sleep. I mean, that's kind of crazy, and this is why you need complete darkness when you sleep. This is why artificial light is far worse for your biology than everyone else wants to believe. Melanopsin is one of these things. Melanopsin has a weak covalent bond to retinol. Retinol is vitamin A, and when you break that bond, you create free retinol, and this free retinol destroys photoreceptors, heme proteins, which your mitochondria 5 cytochromes are heme proteins. But really, this wreaks havoc on your circadian mechanisms. All these things are oscillators, so how I view it is they're proteins that are hydrated and light hits them and they oscillate. So like everything's created from vibrations, and you change these vibrations that tell time and control all of these mechanisms in your body. And different frequencies from non-visible to visible frequencies change these photoreceptors, which change how your body knows what is day or night, the time of season it is. Your body's going to work differently in the winter than it does in the summer. Yeah. It's going to work differently in the morning than it is at night. All of these things are circadian driven. Yeah. And blue light also causes leptin resistance. This is the hormone that controls hunger and fat metabolism. Leptin is a photoreceptor in our skin and subcutaneous fat that is coupled with melanopsin, because fat metabolism and your energy needs to change with the seasons in order for life to survive at different climates that come from changing seasons. And also just how you're utilizing energy changes throughout the day from night to day. So it makes sense for your fat metabolism to be tied to circadian rhythm, which is going to be tied to the blue light photoreceptors in your skin and throughout your body. It's going to be tied to the SCN and the hypothalamus. And when circadian rhythm gets screwed up, you get fat because you are leptin resistant. Blue light makes you fat, not the food you eat. this should be obvious since humans have been eating crap processed food since we're parents were children. People are more knowledgeable about foods, what to eat and what not to than ever, yet people are getting sicker and fatter. What has changed is we've spent more time looking at screens. Screens have evolved and gotten brighter. We made a switch from incandescent bulbs to the new crappy energy efficient narrow spectrum flickering CFLs, fluorescents, and LEDs. And we spend more time than ever indoors, and we fear the sun more than ever. It's a survival mechanism we've evolved, and especially in humans, we're very, very sensitive to blue light compared to other mammals.
Well, because our skin is just like...
Well, it has to do with this weak covalent bond in melanopsin. Of all mammals, humans are one of the most sensitive. All of our studies are on rats, and they actually have...
One of the strongest?
They're stronger.
Oh,
and it's because
nocturnal.
they're nocturnal. There's something to do with them being nocturnal.
Yeah.
So if they're having effects from blue light or EMF, then it's a disaster for humans because this effect is much greater on us.
Yes, exactly.
And this causes mitochondrial dysfunction. It lowers melatonin. Blue light also unsulfates your blood and the proteins in your body, which means it'll lower the ability to utilize the benefits you get when you finally get out in sunlight. And if you are very blue light toxic, you can go out in the sun and produce little to no vitamin D. Cholesterol isn't a bad thing, but cholesterol that is unsulfated by sunlight is bad. And how you do that is you live indoors under artificial lights instead of ever getting outside. Blue light slows down the methionine cycle, which means you become a collector of heavy metals. Forget all the nonsense heavy metal all the heavy metal detox crap. If you want to detox or avoid collecting heavy metals from your environment, you need to get crazy about controlling artificial light, and you need to get more sunlight. Blue light also breaks you what is known as it lowers DHA because it destroys...
It depletes DHA, not lowers. It depletes DHA, so it makes
your cells
you can't recycle it.
Cells need more of it. It destroys the boson long and short loop, which lowers DHA in your eye and your central retina, your brain, and pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah.
And you need DHA.
So, moral of the story. Blue light
lowers melatonin, dopamine, serotonin. It affects your circadian rhythm, which affects all growth and metabolism.
And the
SCN.
macro name of it is blue light toxicity.
And
We're all blue light toxic.
Good God, is it crazy complex.
Yeah.
And I want to get into a more in-depth podcast.
Yes, we'll do all the science of this, but today is focused on how you can just hack your day and your house.
Yeah.
Because that's something you can actually take action on instead of just thinking about. Because a lot of the science is just here, we're laying it out for you.
A lot of people don't want to hear it. They just want to know,
okay, what can I do about it?
But this is extremely important. And
Yeah.
even the smallest
And you should pay
stimulus,
attention to the science.
Even the slightest light stimulus, 1 to 5 photons, which is barely anything.
So small.
So, if you accidentally look at your phone at the wrong time, it's going to impact your sleep.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to lower your melatonin. And melatonin, the amount of things melatonin does, we've talked about how it controls apoptosis and autophagy.
Yeah.
And
some of our tendencies when we can't sleep at night is, check our phone.
Yeah.
Oof.
Which controls...
Scary.
Yeah, it controls everything in the mitochondria. It comes down to melatonin, and we need to block blue light from the skin and the eyes for
as soon as
2 to 3
sundown.
hours, before you start releasing melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
So if you turn on bright lights before you go to bed, or you look at a phone right before bed or in the middle of bed, you're going to disrupt using that melatonin, which does all of these regenerative things for your brain
and body,
your mitochondria. It's
lots of processes.
And also poor sleep affects, every disease goes up with poor sleep. It causes
mental illness goes up with poor sleep.
It causes insulin resistance, which raises blood glucose, and it also affects ghrelin, which affects your hunger the next day. So just that's one night of poor sleep. And then also artificial lights, you got to realize they're also impacting blood glucose and insulin. They're causing you to be insulin resistant.
Yeah.
So like when
they're
look
stressing your body. And so it's making you more hungry, it's making you more impulsive.
Yeah, so when you look at a screen, not only is that advertisement like telling you, oh, eat this whatever food, but also the blue light is impacting you and causing you to be hungrier.
Yeah.
And
the way that our phones are created, they're meant to be as addicting as possible to us. Like the perfect, most vibrant colors, so our eyes are addicted to seeing more and more and more.
I feel like the keto community is always talking about, reducing sugar consumption, not avoiding sugar because you don't want spikes in your blood glucose and this and that, but they don't realize that artificial light's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So like when you're fasting under artificial lights, your blood glucose is raised. So I would do fasting outdoors in sunlight if you can. Or at the very least, block the blue light from your skin and your eyes.
We'll go over that.
Yeah.
So that's what the podcast is about. And we'll start with glasses because you'll see in the first 2 episodes we had glasses on the table. We were wearing glasses.
Yep.
We talked about it briefly.
At night, I think, so talking about spectrums of light, you need to block 400 to 550 nanometer light, which is blue all the way to some of the green spectrum, because these frequencies of light disrupt melatonin and destroy your melatonin levels. That means you need to wear the dark lenses. So right now I'm wearing an orange lens, but we have
only red lights on.
And if I have to look later on, I'll switch to a red, completely red, blue blocking glasses. They're DeWalt laser red glasses you can find on Amazon. Those are my favorite.
Very industrial looking.
They're $10. They're cheap. My favorite, so some of the brands I like Thaddeus Owen of Primal Hackers. He sells some blue blockers. These are Eyekeeper from Amazon. I like them because they're cheap. They've held up really well. One brand I don't like the Swan Wicks. I don't like Dave Asprey's True Dark because they've all broken on me. I don't like his glasses. I like Raw Optics. I haven't owned any, but I know they're considered some of the best. They sell really good ones for prescription. They'll make them prescription for you. And they also have the best daytime lens, which is clear, but it's got a darker tint on it. And I would say if you're going to go with a clear lens, go with the Raw Optics. Yeah. I haven't had a reason to get those because I'll just wear these indoors, the darker lens when I'm around artificial light. But if you're looking for the best pair of day glasses, he makes them.
What are mine?
Yours are the Swanwick.
But they're the Aviator.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a narrow fit though. I have a very small head.
Yeah, you have the
very small.
You have the kid version.
These
of them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
no wonder they fit so well.
Or the small version, I think. There might be kid version.
Like smaller.
I think, so they fit you well.
Yeah. I have a child head. Besides.
Rhythm Optics is another one. There's a bunch of brands out there. Opt for the darker lenses. And for late night, go with the darkest of the RA Optics or the DeWalt laser red glasses.
Yeah, and that's for like the 2 hours leading up to bedtime, right? You want to make sure you're wearing those.
Yeah. Unless you really, really change your house and you control all artificial lights because your neighbor's lights will impact you.
Yeah, like we have a black curtain that we
on
put
any
over
lights
our
that
windows.
come from outdoors.
Yeah.
But so blue blocking glasses are extremely important.
Yeah,
we wear them
some other brands though for like daytime, I use Gins, but that's just because I started doing this 4 years ago, and Gins was one of the only companies out there. They have two different, like I would call them both daytime, even though they call one of them nighttime. The first is only 25% blue light, so you look like a normal person, but
they're
I would
blocking
say
a very narrow spectrum.
it takes
of blue
the
light.
edge off at work.
And that's what most people are getting into is like they're starting to add that layer to the lens that blocks a little blue light.
Yeah, and that's becoming almost standard on a lot of glasses, I believe.
I just want people to realize those are not going to help you at all at night.
No.
They're blocking very minimal amount of blue light.
Yes.
And you also at work are using the filter on the screen.
Yes. I also have, we were going to talk about that later, but at work I download a software that
and you have
changes
also
the
filter above you. But we'll talk about that.
And then I also have their night, which I would say is just like a darker daytime, that I think blocks like 50% or something, not even.
Yeah.
But there's also new brands that have popped up since, like Felix Gray.
It's gotten so much easier because when we first started this, we had to wear like construction dorky glasses.
So dorky. I remember when I first posted these on my Instagram stories, my girlfriend was like, "Oh, you finally found cute ones." Yeah. And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
We have joined society.
And these ones are cool. They have kind of like the blue.
Yeah, yours are cool. It has like a mirror, a blue
So when
mirror.
I'm like out in public, people just kind of think they're sunglasses.
Sunglasses. His just look fashionable.
Yeah, I like the blue layer on these eye keppers. That's one reason. And they have a lot of styles too.
I wouldn't say it's like fashionable, but you feel my drift.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's blue blocking glasses. Any other brands we forgot? Also, we're not sponsored at all.
I'm just trying to be
not getting any money out of this.
Yeah. And the cheapest options are, these eye keppers on Amazon and the DeWalt red glasses.
Yeah, those red ones.
And that's what I'm using.
Super sexy.
Just kind of for cost, and I've broken a lot, and these have held up the best.
All right.
So we're gonna talk.
So next is how you deck out your house, and
so I think the first thing is light bulbs. I don't know how many times you can tell someone to change their light bulbs, and they don't.
You should be using incandescent or Edison bulbs.
Yeah, incandescent Edison bulbs, not the incandescent LEDs. I like the 25 watt because they're dimmer, more of an orange.
So you can go up to like.
So it's what's called a lower Kelvin.
Yeah.
So the worst lights are the CFLs. Those are the spiral bulbs.
Yes.
And also the bright white LEDs.
And I swear they make noise.
Yeah, and they're flickering. So you have two things going on. You have a high flicker rate on them, and they are energy efficient. So they've taken out all the frequencies of light, so they're primarily blue light.
Ugh.
So if you look at a chart of the spectrums, it's like fire or the sun is really smooth curve, and the fluorescent and LEDs have a tight spike at blue light, and those things are pretty much, I think, the cause of
a lot of
the
problems.
main diseases. I mean, we get into EMF and stuff, like the 5G.
But we're under blue light way more. We're bathing in it daily.
Are far worse at this moment.
Yes.
Eventually, I think 5G will catch up.
It's a future problem.
Yeah.
It's not built out yet.
But these are the things you can control. So control light.
So light bulbs, you want to switch
in your own house. Yeah, control them in your house.
Incandescent Edison. We also have red light bulbs that we screw in randomly if we have like lamps.
Yeah, in my closet I get the red.
Yep.
I want to get more of them.
I agree.
I've posted on my Instagram with these. Here's a photo of what these are. These are probably my favorite light bulb. They're red, incandescent.
And that's what's actually illuminating our shot for YouTube.
Yep, along with these.
Well as the LED light strips.
And there are some issues with the red LED lights because they have a flicker.
Yeah.
There are some that are better than others. I know Primal Hacker, so Thaddeus Owen, they're starting to sell one that he approves. He has a meter that measures the flicker rate on these things. I'm by no disillusion that this is still an artificial light, and the flicker can affect these photoreceptors in your skin and impact your sleep still. So we don't have these directly on our skin normally. We're usually far away from these.
Normally on our big couch that's called the cloud.
But I'm even concerned about these. So indoors, I'm always wearing long sleeves.
Well, yeah, it's just cool in the house. So
yeah, so there's these aren't perfect. I like the red incandescent a little bit more, and they're easy to just replace all your lights around. And if your friends come over, you can change them back to the other Edisons, so you don't have to have it all red. Or, I mean, they might. I feel like people enjoy coming and the feeling of our red light environment. It's warm and
because this isn't the first time we've decked out. When we had our loft in Northeast Minneapolis, we decked it out with red lights and Edison lights too, and everyone was like, "Your place is just so cozy and warm." Like, it was a cool bungalow, we called it, because it was just a nice place to hang out. And this place is the same. I mean, it has, luckily, vaulted ceilings, and so we have spacious room to just, like, see the red light get illuminated instead of at us. We love
putting the red lights over the kitchen, like, counters. I think that's a good shelf. Just find shelves and natural shelves in your house.
Yeah, so that way they're not going directly at you, but they're dispersed throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Another really good one that's not artificial is candlelight. So
candlelight is by far the best.
The best.
In winter, we use far more candlelight because
it's dark so long.
And it's crucial to really control light when in the winter.
So sad.
Light's gonna affect you a lot more. I think I'm far more concerned about circadian rhythm and getting everything right for our health in the winter. Then summer, it's like the sun just set. I didn't want to do this podcast this late, but we're busy during the day.
Yeah. Got a full-time job.
It'd be nice to do this outside, honestly. But
maybe we'll do an extra one this weekend outside.
Our vibes are kind of the red, so I don't know.
Yeah. It's consistent. But
we also have the paraffin lamps. That's another option. So I make candles because they can be expensive, the amount we burn, and I make them I order beeswax on Amazon and do a mixture of beeswax to coconut oil. You can find a bunch of recipes online and just play around.
Pinterest and stuff, yeah.
You just get wicks and mason jars and create your own, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then you can also use paraffin hemp oil, or not hemp oil, lamp oil. Paraffin lamp oil. And all I do is get the wick, cut a hole in a mason jar, just perfect size for the wick to go in, and you dip in the oil, and it creates a lot of light from those. You are releasing some, emission from that, but there's no smell. Jack Cruz is really big on those, so I trust his opinion on those being safe for indoor environment. They are indoor lamp oil that burn really clean.
Yeah.
And I don't see a problem with it. They look cool, but I like the candles, and I personally switched to using a lot of the flashlights.
Yeah.
Because I'm directing the light where I want it.
Right.
Instead of like on my skin
or
anything.
Well, in the winter though, we typically have a fire going in the fireplace too.
Yeah.
So it illuminates almost this entire area. It's so bright.
But you just get used to, not watching TV late at night too. That's another thing.
So yeah, that's a good segue because so if you can't see and you can't watch TV, like what do you do in the dark? Well, we have these red flashlights.
Yeah.
That
we get around with those everywhere.
We get around with those, and I read with them. I mean, that's like a new heavy duty one that we got for camping. But we have like these smaller
These
red
small
ones.
too. So
I'll just put that on the pillow behind me and I'll read and it just illuminates my book and it's not disrupting me at all.
You can just search Amazon for red flashlights.
I'll even do like a Sudoku. Like I do grandma things.
Yeah, we do everything. I mean, here's photos of you reading with them.
Yeah. All the time, yeah.
If we have to get up in the middle of the night, like if we had a kid, we would definitely be using these. I can use this as a headlamp too. I just put a hat and kind of tuck it.
Tucked it in.
They do have red headlamps, but it's a little excessive for me. I can just put this on my head with a hat, and if you have to do something at night.
The red headlamp we did buy didn't work, so F that. We'll just make our own.
I think it's too expensive and it's terrible.
Yeah, it did not work.
Okay,
I think that is the light bulbs, candles, flashlights category.
The red strip lights I have are from Lowe's, but yeah.
There's a lot on Amazon.
There's a lot, and like I said, you got to be careful with them. You got to be careful. They have the red light panels, all of those. I don't use those because the flicker, it is affecting photoreceptors in the skin, affecting this melanopsin retinal issue.
Yeah.
And I just, it's hard to recommend, but this is going to be drastically better than your lights that you're using now.
Yeah. Okay, so next is like other blue blocking light techniques. So, like our appliances, for instance, are Whirlpool or something.
Your typical
and so they all glow
lights.
blue, right? And so we use black electrical tape actually
to cover all the small little LED lights in our room, cover the smoke alarm lights.
We don't use our microwave, so we actually just unplug it.
But we do have electrical tape over the clock.
Yeah.
And then the oven clock, I like having a clock, and that thing's always on. We put
a red, is it acrylic?
Yeah, red acrylic. For those that are just listening to the audio, if you search gel filter covered overlays red, you'll come up with these red filters on Amazon that we buy. And it's this thin plastic that I use to cover lights and whatnot. And here's a photo of that product, and I use those everywhere.
Yeah.
And
we have that over our computer.
That's what this is right here.
Yeah.
It's a thin
It's just
screen.
like nice sheets of acrylic.
And we put them over my main monitor, and I just tape it to the top, and I can just flip them up. It's a good thing for work,
So during the day, you can if I had to color correct something for work, I could flip it up so I could actually see.
Yeah, but at night I definitely have that on. And
your phone, so Apple does have night mode, but there's also something that iPhones have. I don't think Androids have it. You have to use a secondary app if you have an Android. So apologies if you have an Android.
I don't know what that app is. I don't have an Android to experiment with it, but how you do it. I have a video on my Instagram showing how to do it. I think that's the most important video I've ever posted. But
I know.
It has the least amount of views.
You should repost it maybe.
But you go into General on your phone. Go to General, then Accessibility, Display Accommodations, Color Filters. Hit Color Tint. Increase the intensity. Then you want to go back 2 screens and hit the shortcut. Go all the way to the bottom. Hit Shortcuts, and then hit and check mark the color filters. Now when you press your home button 3 times, you can turn it on and off the red. And you
on iPhone 10 it's the side 3 times.
Because I don't think the night mode does enough. Just like I don't think the is it Iris?
Flux?
The Flux.
Yeah, the Flux doesn't, but that's just for work. It's just for work during
the day. But at night I don't think it does enough.
No.
You need to get the red filters for your screens.
Yes. But you need both the red filter and the red glasses because back to Phil's point, it's your skin too. So it's what is being illuminated on your skin that you need to worry about as well, not just what your eyes are taking in.
Yeah. And that's I cover my neck. So like I play video games once in a while.
He looks like he's going snowboarding when he's playing video games because he's wearing like a ski mask essentially.
There's absolutely no way to make video games healthy. I'm in no disillusion, but sometimes it's fun to be online with your friends and talk and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to get people off video games, but if I was playing them, God, you need to be wearing the blue blocking glasses. I have the red filter on my screen. I have a neck guard. And,
especially because...
But I'm still getting the EMF. I have headphones because some of these games you need like really good hearing.
Yeah,
but
to collaborate.
You're getting the EMF through the Xbox into your headset. Mm-hmm. It's not the greatest, but...
That's okay. You can have some things. But even at work, you're under panels and panels and panels and panels of bad light. So you should be thinking about, like, I always have a sweater that I can
wear
put
a scarf.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But your thyroid's being affected from this blue light.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the most important thing to cover is your neck.
Yeah.
When we're on our couch.
We have a whole bullet on work, though. So we'll get
when we're on our couch.
We cover up with blankets.
I cover everything with a blanket. Even sometimes in the summer I'm hot. Mm-hmm. But we don't watch TV that much, but when we do, I'm covered up completely.
Our TV has a big red...
So the filter I put on the TV and every screen, besides I put another layer because it blocks, it's like a secondary layer, but it's red tint that you would put on like car window or a window. Here's a photo of what it is on Amazon, but it's red window tint.
Okay.
And I had to use like a spray bottle and spray it on and
then like smooth it on,
smooth it out. And I mean, it was a pain. There's
like
bubbles.
A screen protector.
But once the TV's on, if you looked at our TV when it's off, it looks weird because there's a bunch of bubbles. But yeah, it's like a giant screen protector. Yeah. It's a pain to put on.
Yeah.
You just had to keep
But
smoothing
now that it's on,
But, oh, man, I love it because TVs are too bright. We hit the settings, too. We turn down the settings to, like, up the red, lower the brightness all the way down.
Increase contrast.
We have multiple settings, though, for, like, sometimes shows are just so dark you need to, like, we need to crank this up. Or, like, late at night, it's like...
Yeah, like Game of Thrones, you have to like increase exposure because you like need to see their shadows.
But I find like my favorite thing is comedy, and it's like I don't need to see details. You need to see little things, and it's like
you need to see general motion.
Yeah, so the real fine details doesn't bug me at all. It's like I actually prefer the screen to be really dark red, and it looks funky, but you get used to it, and it's important.
Some other important rooms you have to hack in your house are your bedroom and your bathroom. So what we do, we have a big one of these over our window.
Absolutely zero light where you sleep. Like not even the smallest LED. Unplug all the electrical devices in your room.
Put black electrical tape over your fire detector.
Oh yeah. And I bring it everywhere we travel. I bring electrical tape to tape over
in
small
the hotel
LEDs room. We unplug everything.
Yep.
And you got to black out the window. People, they want to wear eye masks
But your skin again is exposed. So
I didn't appreciate blackout curtains until
like this.
I guess till we graduated college because we blacked out the windows at that first part when we put cardboard. I mean, we've gotten crafty. Yeah. We've never spent the money on good blackout curtains.
We created a tent at our loft.
Yeah.
Phil created a 15-foot
because our windows were too big to cover, and it wasn't our apartment. We were renting it.
Yeah.
So it was there was no way to black it out completely. So we took blackout sheets, and I designed a tent. And
it was like the tents that Target has for pillow fort, but over our bed.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
It was
such
actually
a big difference, yeah. And then here...
And during the day, he would put, air filters in there, so then we would climb in at night, and it had, fresh air.
Right.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, we went...
We need to remember that when we design our dream house.
But another thing, a cheap thing you can do to black out your windows is just spray them with water and stick tinfoil to it. And that tinfoil is blocking
I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
A lot of EMF comes through the window, so you are blocking some of that EMF with the tinfoil, and it's a good blockout material. It blocks out light completely. We have a wood thing over our bed, just like this, that I built a box around, and it blocks all light, but it also has tinfoil
on the inside.
Because some of the light actually got through some of the cracks and stuff, so tinfoil it. That blocks also EMF. Mm-hmm. And then it looks kind of cool. I put a red thing around because sometimes in our bedroom we need red light.
Yeah.
But we also designed our room so like our closets don't get the best light, so we created a closet room out of one of our spare bedrooms because we want natural light when we're getting ready
in the morning
instead of having to turn on a bright light.
Yeah. And luckily our bathroom has a skylight, which is really amazing.
But if you don't, I mean, that's a important part because that's the last place you're at before bed. A lot of people turn on these bright lights and right before they go to bed, and then they wonder why they can't sleep before they look at their phone.
We have a light fixture that we can like wrap these in the
so
light fixture.
Again, these are the red gel filter cover overlays that we're using. The red sheets. Creative too. If you're using regular lights like the incandescent, we use these and we put them in
the light fixture, and that makes it red.
And then we have an LED strip light that I taped to a
wrapped
rod
around it. Which eventually it'll be around the entire mirror.
And I just set it on top of it. So I want to create a mirror that has it all the way around.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that, but this is an
easy
thing to add. It's just a
right before bed, especially. You don't want
light
to have those lights on.
And you're also naked showering a lot of times.
I want to go back to the days when they had the infrared lights.
Oh yeah.
I want that in my house.
It'd be nice to have one of the infrared lights.
Yeah, like the red ones that were right above the heat lamps right above the shower. You're just like, ooh, I don't care that the water's maybe not the warmest.
Still.
Yeah. My sister's house has it. Yeah.
So that's another option, but I think the cheapest thing is just different ways
to hack those rooms to have red lights.
Put the red light bulbs in your bathroom. Or the red LED strip light, kind of like I did. I bent it over a pole and just kind of draped it over.
We do have like nightstand lamps that we put red light bulbs in there.
Yeah, and you can read, but
I like the flashlight more.
We never really even turn those lights on, but if we have to,
it's like decorative.
Have red lights in your room that you can turn on.
Yeah.
Get creative. There's a lot of things we're laying out, and you can apply any of these things to anywhere in your house.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to us if you're like stuck on how you could hack something. Like we're happy
Our
to
basement,
help.
even we put these filters over the spotlights. A lot of houses have the spotlights, and I just taped it over the spotlight. You have to be careful if they get too hot, but I haven't found that to be an issue.
We don't have it on down there that long.
They kind of melt, but I mean they're pretty resilient to heat. I've had them on for hours.
Acrylic should be pretty resilient.
No big deal. When we roll these up in the lights in the bathroom, the light bulb's touching it directly, but they're 25-watt bulbs, so they don't get too hot.
Yeah, and we don't have that light on that often.
Yeah.
Another area that's often overlooked in blue light disruption is driving. So when you're driving at night, people's other headlights are so bright. So we typically wear the amber. I feel most comfortable driving in the amber ones. I don't feel comfortable driving in red ones at all.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous and takes some skill to drive in the red ones.
Like maybe around my neighborhood or to my parents' house at the furthest, but it's not worth it.
At least
I'll take the hit to sleep.
Wear the
I love you all.
Wear the amber glasses when you drive, because I mean those headlights are damaging your eyes.
Yeah, they're
affecting
super
melatonin.
bright.
Yeah, it's one of the, and I try not to drive at night. I try to be in, and even when it's dark in the morning, it's like people have their headlights on because they're on automatic. I like a nice sunny day.
I know, I was
just
like
so
sad
people's
this
lights
morning
aren't
because I
on.
got like beamed.
Yeah, so
and it was at sunrise. I was like, well.
We're wearing blue blockers on the way to work a lot of times.
Yep.
Because I don't want headlights in my eyes. Or on the way back.
Well, the other thing to think about is if the sun is going up, like, have your windows down. Because, like we mentioned in our earlier podcast, the sun is not the same sunlight coming through a window.
Yeah.
So you have to roll down your windows and get the real thing.
And in your house, too. Open windows when you can. To let in UV infrared light that gets blocked by the window.
But our Pepper girl loves when we open windows.
Like, don't kid yourself when you're in a car and you think you're in a better situation because you're in natural light or even anywhere where you're...
It's still blue light toxic, technically. It's not in the right harmony.
Because blue needs to be in balance with red and infrared. So... opening a window, even cracking it a little bit, or having a skylight. What is that, moonroof?
Yeah.
My next car will have one of those, which when we bought this car recently, we didn't, appreciate this. So I was like, we don't need that.
And we could have gotten where the whole top was...
And it's kind of
a skylight.
The windows, when you open them, they're really loud, but a skylight, like those moonroofs, they're
goes
usually
right over.
Pretty quiet.
Yeah, I agree.
But you can get a lot of light in. Yeah. That would be amazing.
Okay, so then the last area we're going to talk about hacking is work. Because obviously we all spend, or I would imagine most of us spend a great amount of time at work under lights that we can't really influence. So Phil, when he was still working at corporate, he had this desk umbrella.
Yep. Everyone thought it was a little bit weird, but here's
Phil
a photo
owns
of it.
everything.
You got to see a photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had red lights running through it, so I'd have red lights.
It clamps, it goes over him, and then he wrapped red lights on the inside.
I even had a black light at my desk too, because I wanted UVA light. Mm-hmm. And what would be cool is to have an infrared red light too.
I think they might confiscate that because that produces heat.
Yeah, they're getting better products, kind of like the Juve lights, but they come in like a screwable bulb. That might be a decent hack for a desk.
Yeah.
But again, you have the flicker and stuff, but it's better than the lights above you.
We worked at the same employer, and instead of going the umbrella route, I actually just figured out through my corporate building services, I could request a light filter. Mm-hmm. Because you could just say this light's too bright, request a light filter, and they came and they actually put a black light filter, which was really awesome. And where my desk is, it's a whole row of windows behind me, so I'm super fortunate that I have at least natural... And when you say a black light filter,
it's like
super charcoal gray.
It really dims it. Don't you have two of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
amazing.
Yeah, people are like, "Well, come over to your desk."
And they ask,
"This is nice."
If that light goes over someone else's cube, they go to that other person and they're like, "Are you okay with this?" And always that person's like, "Of course." Yeah. It's not a problem.
Yeah. They're way too bright.
Yeah, we're good.
And then you're also by a window, which helps.
Yeah. And then the other thing I do is, we alluded to this earlier, I download this software called Flux. It's actually F.LUX. So if you just type that into Google, it'll take you to the thing. It'll say download for Mac or Windows. And then just follow the steps. You'll put in your zip code, and what it does is it matches whichever hue you want it to be on the spectrum. So if I want to say I'm in editing mode or whatever, I can make it really bright and colorful in where I need it to be. But most of the time I keep it in what's called incandescent mode. So it's in this warm ambery color. And then it also matches the sunrise and sunset pattern of where your zip code is. So if I put I'm in Minneapolis, it keeps it to the darkest setting until it passes that sunrise, and then it starts reaching into your lighter mode where you have set it at that.
And Apple does have something built in to their
It's similar to the night shift, but it has more technology.
I have it all the way turned up 100% of the time, and I don't notice that it's even on.
Yeah.
Until I turn it off, and I'm like, whoa, this is way too bright.
Yeah.
And even my work computer... I had the flux on 100% all the way up, and people would come by and they're like, "Whoa! How do
your eyes adjust to it?
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, there's this long spectrum for a reason, and you can continue to go as your eyes adjust to it.
Yeah.
getting outside, like this can be difficult, especially my job tends to be meeting heavy, so it's hard to step outside once an hour, once every other hour, twice a day.
I almost feel like,
but I try. I really try.
When we go to like a store or something, it's like I want to walk outside, and it's almost like washing your skin off of like
being
this
out
artificial
inside.
light, like
Yes.
kind of resetting. It's not really resetting, like you still had some effects, but kind of telling your body what time of day it is.
Yeah, checking back in to like
It's
the
gonna
real
make a difference.
frequencies of life, I think. Yeah, and I actually have noticed that helps me with my appetite and helps me with my need to like go get a coffee or go do something, because if I'm not in a meeting and I don't have something like I can tackle right away, I'm like, should I go get a coffee? Should I go do a Target run? And I've noticed if I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go step outside, that's a way better use of my time.
Yeah.
Other thing we alluded to earlier is skin coverage. So I have a sweater at my desk. You can have a scarf. I have long hair, which is nice. So it's typically in the winter. I'm like always wearing a turtleneck because hello, Minnesota.
And we can apply this. So our next thing we were going to talk about is like when we go to a store.
Yeah.
We try and do all our shopping before the sun sets, so we
Yep.
don't have to like. It's gonna be
Wear glasses at work.
But like, here's a video of us going into Target earlier.
Yeah, this is us earlier
Yeah.
tonight at Target.
We were wearing our blue blocking glasses. No shame.
No shame.
It's like you got to do it. No fucks given.
No, you
it's
have to
almost
own
like
it.
It's almost an exercise to like. It's healthy to be like. It doesn't matter what people think.
No, I'm doing
They're
this for my
looking
health.
a little bit, but it's almost a fun experiment to do.
And honestly, the amount that this has helped with my migraines, I really don't care. So.
And if I saw you with blue blocking glasses in the store, I'm like, that dude is smart.
That dude's trying something at least.
A lot of people, I mean, more people are wearing blue blocking glasses and they don't even know it.
Yeah, we've seen it.
They don't even know it though.
Gamers actually, especially, they just like
they
wear
at
them
least
all the
know.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm always wearing long sleeves and I pull them down when I go inside.
Yeah.
And I wear a hat too because I don't want the light from the top coming down.
I look like a goofball with a hat, so I have to figure out a solution.
So I'm always wearing a hat indoors. That's another thing you can do.
Yeah. I'm sure there are other instances we didn't think about, but we wanted to just lay out the quick things that you could tackle.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have questions or need help, reach out.
Yeah. And thanks for listening, and I hope you make small changes that
work for you.
And, make small changes and just
observe
over time. You don't have to do everything at once, but blue blocking glasses, sleep in the dark, watch the sunrise. I mean, it'll make a drastic difference on your health.
In a short amount of time.
And these are important things to do leading up to 5G because you need to get your sleep in check before more things
outside environmental stressors come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Castbox, and YouTube. Mm-hmm. So subscribe, download, follow us on Instagram. We have a Facebook. It's just the same things we post on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
We don't have a Twitter yet. We'll figure that out.
But next episode, not sure what we'll talk about, but
yeah, we might go into our next, which is quality drinking water.
So we can get into water. That'd be kind of fun to talk water. That'll be.
Actually, it's no sunglasses, sunscreen, and getting sunlight.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about that though enough.
I know. I feel like we covered that. So actually, it would be on
water.
And we already talked home lighting. We grouped that in with
that's
blue
when
light,
things
so it's
really start to get fun.
Woohoo! That's exciting.
Yeah, water.
So yeah, we might do water next, or we might do further science on blue light. Yeah. So stay tuned. Thank you.